The male lead has a face exactly like mine, but I'm the heir to the richest family. He was just an 18th-ranked starlet. To prove that he was not inferior to me, he chose to flirt with my fiancée, planning to secretly perform tricks at my wedding. But before it even started, I immediately announced the cancellation of the engagement. As soon as the 4 words "cancel the wedding" were uttered, the entire auditorium immediately erupted into chaos. What's going on? Isn't it said that he and Bok Ningbing are childhood sweethearts? The relationship is very good. This time, the Bok family is truly in trouble. Amidst the surrounding gossip and ridicule, Bok Ningbing walked onto the stage with a gray face. She grabbed my hand tightly and shouted loudly, "Lamb back, what occasion is today? Don't you know? Are you crazy?" Bok Ningbang's cold voice was transmitted throughout the entire arena through the microphone, making the guests constantly amazed. This eldest lady's attitude towards young Master Lamb is truly too overbearing. With such a bad attitude, no wonder Lam Dai-Thew wants to cancel his marriage with her. After all, he was the richest young master. Bok Ningbang thought this was scolding his maid. Old man Lam was still angry, his face was black. Where he can see, Bok Ningbang has this attitude towards his nephew, so what about where he can't see? Bok Ningbang didn't want to marry me, it was just pressure from her grandfather. But when I told her to cancel the engagement, her first reaction was to refuse very quickly. Bok Ningbang thought to herself, she definitely didn't want to leave me. The white moonlight in her heart is Lu Wei, but she is a bit unwilling. Based on what she has been calculating for many years over me. When I say annulment, I mean annulment of marriage. Today is the big day of the marriage between the Lam and Bok families. On the wedding day, the groom canceled the engagement, as you can imagine. After today, she will become a laughing stock for the entire North City. Bok Ningbang's eyes flashed sharply. No, this wedding absolutely cannot be cancelled. Perhaps she was used to domineeringly giving orders in front of me. No matter how forced the current situation was, as soon as Bok Ningbang opened her mouth, her tone was still one of command. Lam back, can you stop being so stubborn and cause trouble anymore? Today is the day you two get married. If there's anything you can't say until after the wedding is over. This time, before I could speak, Mr. Lam spoke first. This wedding does not need to continue anymore. Having finished speaking, he patted my back as if to comfort me. When he turned his head to look towards Bok Ningbang, his eyes were filled with a cold and sharp look. Bok Ningbang was a bit intimidated by the opponent's aura at first, but she thought the opposite. On the wedding day, the person who suddenly ruined the wedding was not me. Logically speaking, she should have been the victim. Bok Ningbang completely changed her previous lethargic appearance, put herself in a high moral position, and used a tone equal to that of old man Lam, saying, "Lam Jia Jia, Lam back is making a fuss demanding an annulment of the marriage on an important occasion like today. We can't let him be so careless, okay?" Bok Ningbang clearly expressed his intention, telling him to quickly take care of his grandson. Old man Lam glanced at the other person, his eyes filled with experience, a cold look flashed across his face. He opened his mouth with solemn dignity. "My nephew, Lam Pham, has the right to do as he pleases. He can do whatever he wants." The entire banquet hall immediately fell into absolute silence. Obviously, the old man did not move a hand, but everyone seemed to hear the sound of slapping on Bok Ningbing's face. Bok Ningbang has had smooth sailing since childhood and has never been publicly humiliated like that by anyone. She couldn't help but question, "Master Lam, are you planning to cut ties with our Bok family?" As soon as the words ended, there was a real slapping sound this time. Bok Ningbang's face was tilted to one side. The person who took action was her biological grandfather, Mr. Bok. Bok Ningbang turned around, her eyes filled with disbelief. Old man Bach roared at her, "Do you still have the face to call me Grandpa? How are you talking to your lamb Gia Gia? Apologize quickly." At this moment, Bach Ning Bang looked full of injustice, tears welling up like a stream. Turning around, she ran out of the wedding ceremony. This unexpected episode surprised everyone. Old man Bach's face darkened, and the whole wedding hall became noisy and chaotic. I slowly stepped forward, grabbed the microphone, and said in a low voice, "I'm very sorry for inviting everyone here, but in the end this wedding ceremony cannot continue. Today, Bach Ning Bang and I dissolved our engagement, no longer having anything to do with each other. From now on, whoever marries whom will get married, it has nothing to do with each other." After the wedding ceremony ended, I took off my wedding dress and sat in the living room. Mr. Lamb carefully observed my face and found that I did not look sad, nor did I look like I had been hurt. At this point, he felt a little reassured and said, "Why did you suddenly decide to cancel your marriage with the Bach family girl?" I kept my face calm, the corner of my mouth curled up in a cold smile, because I found out that Bach Ning Bing was in trouble. Before the wedding started, she even called that man, saying that marrying me was only a temporary plan to usurp our Lamb family's assets. After gaining the trust of the Bach family's grandfather, she could annex the Lamb Gia in one go. At that time, she would kick me out and marry the man. That man. After hearing that, Mr. Lamb was angry. What? The Bach family really? Having said that, I nodded and said it was completely correct. Even though he was angry, Mr. Lamb changed his gentle face towards me. "To you back, don't worry. Entrusting this matter to grandfather will certainly cause the Bach family to give an explanation. Grandpa did that in the end just to cure the disease in the mirror." I firmly looked towards Mr. Lamb and stated my purpose. "I want to be the general manager of Lamb Tea Entertainment." Mr. Lamb immediately happily agreed. Lamb Tea Entertainment is one of the subsidiaries of Lamb Tea Group, a leading enterprise in the entertainment industry. Most importantly, the male lead Lu Wei signed an entertainment contract with Lamb Tea, just because Bach Ning Bing is my fiancée. She also has a voice at Lamb Tea Entertainment. She secretly warned a senior leader of Lamb Tea. From then on, Lu Wei's career path became smooth sailing. Lamb Tea Entertainment is located in a building in the southern CBD area of the city. As soon as Lu Wei walked in, he met his current manager, Fuang Lin. "Ms. Lin, good morning. Where are you going?" Compared to Lu Wei's smiling face, Fuang Lin seriously replied, "Lamb Tea's department has a new general director. Lamb Tea's internal entertainment may change greatly. Now I have to go to the 33rd floor for a meeting." After listening, Lu Wei obediently nodded, then Lin, "Go quickly." Fuang Lin raised her wrist to check the time. That's right, there have been some pretty good scripts recently. I booked it in your room. Remember to take the time to look through it." Speaking of this, Fuang Lin smiled mysteriously. "This time it's the male lead role, you're about to become a top star." At this time, in the meeting room on the 33rd floor of Lamb Tea Building, the senior leaders of the company's departments along with the managers were seated and discussing quietly. This time, whoever was dispatched from Lamb Tea Group's headquarters to present to the emperor one morning, they were all concerned about their future prospects. At 10 a.m., the large door of the meeting room was pushed from the outside. Everyone turned their heads to look at the door. I only saw a high-class suit and a tall, handsome man entering. Stepping behind, two secretaries with elegant demeanor followed. The atmosphere and scene were both very strong. Senior leaders thought to themselves that the new director's conference room was too young. Therefore, many people inevitably develop a mentality of contempt. I took everyone's faces and eyes into my eyes, opened my mouth in silence and said, Hello everyone, I would like to introduce myself. I am Lam Bak Chi, just a name. Everyone simultaneously withdrew the disdain in their eyes. If only one ordinary manager is appointed, these high-ranking old foxes may not be convinced. But now it's different. The other person is the young master of the richest family in the capital, the Lam family. The entire Lam Tea group belongs to my family. Who dares not respect it? So everyone rushed to praise. Hello, young Master Lam. I smiled coldly. Here, I hope you call me Lam Dai, not young master. Understood, Lam, everyone said in unison. As a result, Lam Tea's entertainment seemed to go more smoothly than I imagined. This status as a wealthy heir is quite useful. I plan to first create some achievements and then smoothly take over the Lam Tea group. It's not impossible to just handle Lu Wei. I turned my chair and called out a name, Fuang Lin. Fuang Lin was called by name. Her heart sank a little, feeling that it was not a good thing. Lam Lai, you called me. What advice do you have? Compared to Fuang Lin's tense body, I sat in a lazy posture. If I remember correctly, there seems to be an artist named Lu Wei under your hand, right? Fuang Lin didn't know what I meant by suddenly mentioning Lu Wei. Before knowing whether I liked or hated Lu Wei, she could only try to give a neutral assessment and replied, yes, I have an artist named Lu Wei in my hands. Really? I nodded, lengthened the last syllable a bit, then continued, this little artist is very similar to me. I suddenly became cold, with a sharp face and sharp eyes glanced at Fuang Lin and said, this little artist Lu Wei, I don't like it very much. You should know what to do, right? Fuang Lin's smile immediately froze on her face. On one side is a small artist on the rise, on the other side is a proud heir to the Lam family. No matter how heavy or who chooses to side with, Fuang Lin has already made a decision in her heart. Lam, I understand what to do. I nodded absent-mindedly, the corner of my mouth slightly raised. Manager Fuang is a smart person. At this time, on the 17th floor of the Lam Tea building, Lu Wei seriously flipped through several scripts. The resources that Fuang Lin gave him were all very good. While he was dreaming about becoming a first-class star, Fuang Lin pushed the door open and walked in. Lu Wei jumped up from the sofa, held the script, smiled brightly, and said, Miss Lin, are you back? How did the meeting go? Ah, I've looked at those scripts carefully. That detective movie is quite good. Fuang Lin's expression was no different from before, but what she said was wrong. This script is not for you. Lu Wei's face became stiff, a trace of disappointment flashed in his eyes. But he quickly returned to normal. Really wrong? So this martial arts scenario is quite good. This time, Lu Wei had not finished speaking when Fuang Lin interrupted him. The martial arts script is not for you either. Lu Wei's expression was completely stiff, his eyes wide open. Surprisingly, even though he considered himself to have a good temper, he could not control his anger at this time. The script that Fuang Lin showed him said that he could choose his own role, but now that he has finished reading the script, he said that these scripts were not prepared for him. Aren't you kidding me? Lu Wei thought Fuang Lin was his manager, holding his lifeline in her hands, so she had to try to control her anger and forced a smile. Sister Lin, you're not kidding me, are you? Fuang Lin heard the resentment in Lu Wei's voice and coldly smiled in her heart. Do you still dare to blame her? I don't know when. He offended the young master of the Lam family, and didn't say a word to her, causing her to be caught off guard today in the high-level meeting. Thinking of this, Fuang Lin completely lost any feelings for Lu Wei and coldly opened her mouth. Who's joking with you? From today onwards, all of your resources will be revoked and transferred to Thachao. This is a decision, not a negotiation. Thatch Hao is a new artist signed under Fuang Lin. His appearance and temperament are similar to Lu Wei's before. Sure, Hao can only get a bit of resources that slip through Lu Wei's fingers or choose the remaining roles after Lu Wei has already chosen. The mouth does not speak but always feels superior to Thatch Hao. Now, Fuang Lin transferred the resources that originally belonged to him all to Thatch Hao. This, of course, made Lu Wei unacceptable. His voice even changed. Transfer all my resources to Thatch Hao? Sister Lin, why did you do that? Fuang Lin only left a sentence full of meaning. Lu Wei's heart was as confused as fog. He didn't offend anyone, did he? Even if he accidentally offended someone, with Bok Ningbing's identity, it wouldn't be to the point where he suddenly thought of something. Face changes. Could it be him? The first person Lu Wei thought of to ask for help was Bok Ningbing. Seeing Lu Wei's sadness clearly shown on his face, Bok Ningbing asked naturally. Lu Wei immediately told the story of being bullied by Fuang Lin during the day. Sister Lin said that I had offended the big person above and ordered to freeze FS's career. But you know, I have always had a good relationship with others. How could I offend anyone? Bok Ningbing spoke almost immediately. You have always been an upright person. How could you offend anyone? It must have been Lambak secretly chatting. Bok Ningbing stopped for a moment, thinking about the wedding being cancelled on her wedding day, and became more and more angry. Don't worry, I will definitely make Lambak give you an explanation for this matter. With Bok Ningbing's assurance, Lu Wei immediately stopped worrying. He looked intently at the girl in his arms, with eyes full of affection. Bok Ningbing's pretty face turned slightly red. She turned back to let the waiter take the bill. She pulled out a black card. Unexpectedly, a moment later, the waiter returned with the card. Sorry, your card has been frozen. Do you want to change to another card to pay? Bok Ningbing's face became unsightly. She quickly understood the problem. It was definitely done by Mr. Bok because she ran away on the wedding day. Mr. Bok has imposed an economic embargo on her. You don't need to think too much about the other cards, they are definitely frozen too. This is the first time Bok Ningbing has lost face like this. Since she was born, she has lost face in front of the man she loves. In the end, Lu Wei showed his understanding and automatically took out his card to pay. The two returned and recorded Bok Ningbing calling Mr. Bok. As soon as he opened his mouth, he asked the question. Grandpa, why did you close my account? Old man Bok laughed coldly. A few days later, I finally waited for Bok Ningbing to call. As a result, as soon as he opened his mouth, he asked the question. Why cut off her card? He's such a good niece. The reason why I cut my card, I know clearly in my heart. Old Master Bok's tone was cold. Bok Ningbing's expression paused, her hand holding the phone slightly tightened. Grandpa, I told you a long time ago that I don't like Lambak. You insisted on forcing me to marry him. Old man Bok was so angry that he laughed. At first, when he knew he would marry the Lam family, Bok Ningbing did not refuse, on the contrary, secretly enjoyed the process. I pursued her. In the end, marrying into the Lam family is what many women dream of, and is also the capital for her to brag about to people in the world. But after Lu Wei appeared, she seemed to be possessed by a ghost, not being a nice rich lady but instead liking an 18th ranked starlet. Thinking of this, Mr. Bok was angry and drove back. Don't forget your identity, without Bok Jia, you are nothing. I give you 3 days to think carefully. Either go back and apologize to Lambak, ask him for forgiveness, or you are no longer my family member. All the assets under your name will be recovered one by one. Economic embargo is always a familiar measure of patriarchs. Just by looking at it, You can see that Bok Ning Bang has never experienced harsh social conflicts, just a rich lady. Old Master Bok responded in a colder tone. It's up to you. After speaking, he hung up the phone. Old Man Bok was so angry that the corners of his mouth trembled. He angrily ordered the recovery of all assets under the name Bok and Gung Bang. After just one night, Bok Ning Bang went from being a young lady to being a runaway, a downtrodden girl facing economic sanctions. Lu Wei hugged her from behind to comfort her. Nng Bing, I heard everything you and he said. You quarreled with your family because of me. From now on, please let me take care of you, okay? Bok Ning Bing was angry. The feeling of dissatisfaction and inhibition accumulated like a mountain that could not be relieved. But when she heard Lu Wei say that, she felt like there was still someone in the world who understood her. Truly, I don't love the wrong person. Bok Ning Bing stayed in Lu Wei's small apartment. The two of them were together for a few days before Lu Wei remembered his career. Bok Ning Bang immediately decided to go with Lu Wei to Lam T Entertainment, standing behind her to support. As soon as he arrived at the Lam T building, Bok Ning Bang radiated coldness, looking at Fuang Lin with eyes as cold as a winter night. It was she who gave his resources to others and wanted to freeze his career. Fuang Lin was both surprised and angry. Bok Ning Bang's face often appears in major media, the fiancé of the richest heir. Who doesn't know? Fuang Lin always knew that there was definitely someone behind Lu Wei, but she didn't expect that person to be Bok Ning Bang. But she still tried to open her mouth and say, this is a decision made internally by the company. Hearing that, Bok Ning Bang slightly curled her lips and smiled coldly. Internal decision, very good. Call your Hong Box here. Hong is the CEO of Lam T Entertainment, but must add the word former in front. Obviously, Bok Ning Bang still doesn't know this news. She thought that when she heard Huang's name, Fuang Lin would show some panic. Unexpectedly, the other person calmly replied. Sorry, Hong has been fired. Bok Ning Bang frowned, feeling vaguely that something was out of control. Fuang Lin calmly replied, yes, the current CEO of Lam T Entertainment is Lam Box. Bok Ning Bang did not expect that Lam Tong that Fuang Lin talked about was me. After all, in the past, because of pursuing Bok Ning Bing, I never cared about my family's career. It is very difficult to imagine the name Lam back. Fuang Lin's eyes flashed and glanced at Lu Wei and Bok Ning Bang, who were embracing each other intimately. Having the intention of revenge, he turned back to ask. Miss Bok wants to see Lam back? Bok Ning Bang smiled coldly, her cold face clearly showing arrogance. She bossily gave orders to Fuang Lin. Of course I have to see you. Now quickly call someone named Lam Ho to come see me. A strange smile flashed at the corner of Fuang Lin's mouth. It's okay, Miss Bok, please wait a moment. I will notify Lam back immediately. Immediately after that, in front of Bok Ning Bang, she used the internal phone to connect to the general director's office. From the moment you two stepped into this building, I knew. Therefore, when I received Fuang Lin's phone call, I was not surprised. On the contrary, when I heard Fuang Lin's words, I laughed. I sat lazily on the swivel chair and gently said, either Bok Ning Bang himself come to the 33rd floor to meet me, or let the security throw unrelated people out. Fuang Lin received the order, the corner of her mouth curled up, and respectfully replied, Lam ma'am. Lu Wei, don't dogs rely on their masters to rely on Bok Ning Bing to stand behind them? After all, Lam T Group is the one paying his salary. What does Bok Ning Bang rely on to be so proud in front of her? Isn't it based on my preferences? When I liked Bok Ning Bang, she was the future young lady of Lam T Group. The entire Lam T Group must respect her 3 times. but when I don't like her anymore, she's nothing. Fluang Lin conveyed my words to Bok Ning Bang. The corner of her mouth contained an unclear sarcasm, smiled coldly and said, Lam Bak said he is very busy, has no free time. If you want to meet him, please go to the 33rd floor to the General Director's office. After all, the other person is the eldest lady of the Bok family. Even though she is not the young lady of the Lam family, she is still much nobler than someone who is just a small manager. Therefore, when Fluang Lin spoke, she still saved Bok Ning Bang's face a little and did not convey my words exactly word for word. Otherwise, letting her know that my exact words were to tell Bok Ning Bang to roll up here herself, there is no guarantee that she will be angry to death or not. Even though Fluang Lin had saved Bok Ning Bang's face like that, she still got so angry that she burst out laughing when she heard that I was not in a hurry to go down but instead told her to go to the 33rd floor on her own. Bok Ning Bang laughed angrily and asked her, why didn't you tell him my identity? Fluang Lin used eyes as if she were observing an innocent child to look at the other person and said, your identity, I told Lam Bak from the beginning. Didn't you hear it just now? Bok Ning Bang was rarely looked down upon by others like that, so she burst out laughing coldly. I want to see how powerful this person is. She angrily pushed open the office door, but discovered I was sitting inside. Bok Ning Bang was immediately stunned. The words he was about to question were stuck in his throat. I raised my head from the file, my sharp eyebrows raised slightly. Are you cold and don't know how to knock before entering? Or is the Bok family educating their children like that? Obviously, I was sitting on a chair, but the two people standing felt pressure from above. Lu Wei was frightened by my aura. A feeling of inferiority suddenly arose in my heart. As a small artist of Lam T Entertainment, seeing the anger of the new general director in charge of life and death of the entire company, he trembled and opened his mouth to say, sorry, Lam Dai. At this time, Bok Ning Bang just regained consciousness from the words, I am Lam Bak. Look at the man sitting in the general director position, okay? Her eyes became hazy. Is this really Lam Bak? In a daze, she heard her heartbeat gradually increase, but when she heard Lu Wei's trembling words, she unconsciously chose to protect her little lover and, without knowing right or wrong, took advantage of me. I raised my chin and smiled interestingly. Bok Ning Bing, which eyes do you use to see me, your little lover? Eyes like that are so useless, you could be used as dog food. If I say Bok Ning Bang was surprised for the first time today, it was because I broke my previous dressing style. He no longer has the image of a rich boy from the past, but has become sharp and outstanding, making others shake. So today, for the second time, Bok Ning Bing was surprised that I, the person who always liked her, could say something like, feed the dog with her eyes. Bok Ning Bang was surprised, embarrassed and angry. However, when the words reached his mouth, he didn't know what to say. For a moment, he was confused and couldn't speak. Lu Wei saw the scene where Bok Ning Bing and I were confronting, and suddenly a feeling of wanting to protect was born in his heart. He stood in front of Bok Ning Bing and quickly said, Lam Neem, how can you treat me like that? Before the words were finished, I glanced over. There was cruelty in his eyes, causing Lu Wei to immediately fall silent. His voice was stuck in his throat, he couldn't utter a word. Seeing Lu Wei silent and not saying more, I withdrew my eyes, leaned back in my chair, and lazily opened my mouth. What do I say? What do I do? When is it your turn to teach me a word? Lu Wei's face immediately turned red. Seeing the situation, I continued to speak. You just said I shouldn't treat Bok Ning Bing like that, right? Lu Wei swallowed a mouthful of saliva, only feeling that my aura was so strong that it made him feel suffocated. But remembering having Bok Ning Bang next to him, said that I wouldn't dare do anything to him. Moreover, no matter what, I have to show off a little in front of Bok Ningbing. Lu Wei suddenly seemed to have found support and calmed down. His eyes looked at me with determination. Bok Ningbing is the eldest lady of the Bok family. How can you not respect her and insult her at will? Doing so is not right. This action made Bok Ningbing both excited and moved. Apparently, Lu Wei was scared to death but still stood up to protect her. She certainly doesn't like being wrong. And I'm too lazy to look anymore. This couple annoys me. I let out a sneer, my eyes filled with sharpness and seduction as I looked at Lu Wei. I said each word clearly, only you need to flatter and please the woman in front of you. You still exist, I am different. Bok Ningbing, if I scold you, just scold me. What can she do to me? Having finished speaking, I crossed my arms and hugged my shoulders, with a lazy attitude, leaning against the back of the chair. This is the difference between you and me. Lu Wei's eyes were full of strength, but he couldn't react. My uncle, the heir to the richest conglomerate, is someone that even Bok Ningbing would not dare to offend, let alone him. Seeing that Lu Wei was being pointed at by me in order to protect himself, Bok Ningbing, of course, could not sit still. She stood in front of Lu Wei and said coldly, "You just rely on your family background to act arrogantly. Once you leave the position of young master of the Lam family, what else do you count as? At least Lu Wei is relying on his own efforts." Bok Ningbing spoke strongly, firmly, clearly and firmly. She criticized me, blamed me for making me useless, not worth a penny. In a place where Bok Ningbing could not see, the corner of Lu Wei's mouth slightly raised, a smug look flashing in his eyes. However, what was surprising was that facing Bok Ningbing's criticism, my face showed absolutely no anger. Instead, I looked at her with a half-smile. Seeing my expression, Bok Ningbing couldn't help but frown. "What are you laughing at?" I gently said in a meaningful tone, "I laugh because these words came out of your mouth, it's really strangely funny. Wasn't Miss Bok Ningbing also born a young lady with golden branches and jade leaves? Compared to me, you are the most unqualified person to say this." Bok Ningbing was suddenly so angry that he choked up his words. Lu Wei realized that the situation had no chance of being saved, so he had to give up everything. "Broken things," he said word by word. "Lam thinks I don't have the right to say much, but I also have pride and courage. If you continue to force me like this, when I have nothing left to lose, then it won't matter if I end up in a bad mood." I kept my face the same, just curled my lips into a mocking smile. "Is this you threatening me?" Lu Wei pursed his lips, summoned all his courage and said, "Yes, even though the Lam family is the richest in the capital, they can't cover the sky with one hand, right?" When saying these words, Lu Wei looked straight into my eyes, as if reminding me that after all, he was an 18th ranked star with many fans. If I don't leave him a way to live, when he has no way to retreat, he will fight me to the death. Hearing that, I just laughed coldly. "You are wrong. The Lam family can cover the sky with one hand. Bok Ningbing certainly knows more about this than him. Even when the Tan Tuet was once famous, it was just someone saying a few words to a certain high class of Lam tea, sending greetings to a certain high class in the entertainment industry, and now it has almost disappeared from the entertainment industry." Even though he knew clearly in his heart, Bok Ningbing still did not want to see Lu Wei being resentful. She looked at me with unfriendly eyes and a slightly warning tone. "Lam back, don't be too harsh." I didn't even look at her, but looked at Lu Wei and continued, "You think you have a lot of fans in the entertainment industry. If you fight with him, you won't necessarily lose. You can still take the opportunity to drag me into the water, right?" Lu Wei did not say anything, silence meant tacit agreement. My eyes still held a smile, reminding him one thing. Even though I don't value Bok Ningbing anymore, there's one thing you need to remember clearly: before, Bok Ning Bang was my fiancé. At most, he was just a lover that she kept. Don't forget your identity. It's not enough for others to hide it, but this is the first time I've seen you burst out like this on your own. Think about it: if your fans knew that the male god they admired turned out to be someone like you, who do you think would be the first to lose their reputation? You or me? Hearing that, Lu Wei instinctively panicked and looked toward Bok Ning Bang for help. Without thinking, Bok Ning Bang criticized me. Lam back, don't be too harsh. I have never liked you, nor have I ever recognized myself as your fiancé. What qualifications do you have to say Lu Wei like that? If it were before, I would have definitely shown hurt when I heard her say that. Until now, Bok Ning Bang has always thought that way, but I just smiled blandly. It's so coincidental, I don't want to admit it. It's just that over the years, Bok Jia has relied on Lam Jia and has received a lot of benefits. It doesn't matter if she doesn't want to admit it. In everyone's eyes, you are a member of Lam Jia. Therefore, no matter how moved you are by yourself, in the eyes of others, Lu Wei is just a lover that you nurture. Bok Ning Bang gritted her teeth, her nails dug deep into her palms, but she couldn't utter a word of rebuttal. However, the angrier she got, the happier I laughed. This is from a personal perspective, but in terms of work, I am currently the general director of Lam T Entertainment. Lu Wei is an artist of the company. I have checked the books. Over the past 2 years, the company has poured money and resources into Lu Wei to train a first-class star. It was enough as Lu Wei did not reach an adequate level, so I withdrew his resources. This is called a timely stop-loss. A sharp light flashed in my eyes, then I looked towards Lu Wei. Where is today's position? It's clearer in your heart than anyone else. I don't know how I have the face to dare to come in front of me and shout loudly. Lu Wei's face was sometimes red, sometimes white, and a little lack of confidence appeared in his heart, because he knew I was right. RT is just an 18th ranked starlet. Since meeting Bok Ning Bang, he has slowly become famous. He was still a little unconvinced in his heart. Just as I wanted to open my mouth, I was directly interrupted. Okay, questions have been answered. I'm very busy. If there's nothing, you two can go home. Having finished speaking, I pressed the inline button and called the secretary to chase the 2 eyes-opening people out. At this moment, Lu Wei's eyes were full of confusion and fear. Lam will definitely not leave me alone. What should we do in the end? He revealed a vaguely weak look that made Bok Ning Bang look heartbroken. I can rest assured. I won't let Lam back control you. But these words did not make Lu Wei feel at ease. But I signed a 10-year long-term contract with Lam T for entertainment. Lam is holding my contract. Now he hates because of love. I'm worried that even if I respect you, he may not respect you. Bok Ning Bang heard that and was slightly stunned. Is it because love gives birth to hatred? Before, she thought that my change was to attract her attention, but after seeing my attitude today, she realized that I was probably not trying to entice her, but was actually cold and indifferent to her. When she had not yet guessed my thoughts, after being reminded by Lu Wei, Bok Ning Bang suddenly woke up and understood. It turns out that I really hate because of love? Thinking of this, she suddenly felt confident. Do you still not believe me? Although Lam Jia is the richest family in the capital, my Bok family is not. Easy to bully. At most, it is contract compensation. I will pay for you. Under Bok T Group there is also a film and television company. As long as you sign a contract with us, your treatment will definitely not be inferior to Lam T Entertainment. Moreover, Lam Bak relied on Lam Jia's identity to act arrogantly. His grandfather may not know about it. If Mr. Lam knew, he would definitely not let him continue causing trouble like that. Tuvai definitely has a solution, believe me in what I say. Lu Wei felt uncomfortable with this call, but in the end he didn't say anything. His eyes only showed a moderate amount of surprise. Really touched? Thank you. As if to prove what he just said, the next second Bok Ning Bang called Mr. Lam. Lam Tu Lin, Lam Bak basically doesn't understand anything about company management. He keeps causing chaos in Lam T Entertainment, depending on his mood and interests, oppressing artists at will. Such an inherently hardworking and promising artist has been buried. Grandpa, do you think this is reasonable? Old Man Lam immediately laughed coldly. That hardworking and promising artist is Lu Wei, right? After I reminded him, Mr. Lam ordered an investigation. At first, Mr. Bok Ning Bang just loved me without distinguishing between sides. Out of respect for me, he was very lenient with Bok Ning Bang. But as long as he wants to investigate, with his determination and power, there is still nothing in this capital that can escape the eyes of this richest tycoon. He not only discovered Bok Ning Bing's villain, Lu Wei, but also discovered a number of other stories about Lu Wei. In Old Man Lam's wise and experienced eyes, a cold and sharp light flashed. He immediately lowered his voice. My nephew is not yet at your command. He did not shout or get angry out of control, but in his natural voice exuded the spirit of a tycoon. Bok Ning Bang was so surprised that she couldn't speak. In the end she just said confused. Mr. Lam, I don't have any personal intentions. I just remind you, isn't it because you're worried that Lam Bak will destroy Lam T Entertainment? After all, it's one of the Lam family's money-making professions. I'm only for the good of the Lam family. Old Man Lam smiled coldly. No need, as long as little Bak is happy. A small Lam T Entertainment, even if I let him practice, I can accept it. Mr. Lam is not a pleasant person. At first, he respected me very much. Bok Ning Bing invited the previous student to complain because of her little lover, and went to him to cause trouble. It can be said that it made Mr. Lam completely displeased. Without waiting for Bok Ning Bang to open his mouth, after expressing his steadfast stance, he immediately hung up Bok Ning Bang's phone call. Bok Ning Bang turned around, made another phone call, and scolded Mr. Bok harshly. Mr. Bok, take good care of your niece. Her lover comes all the way here, and still dares to criticize you back. I tell you, my patience has limits. When Mr. Bok received the phone call, he was immediately scolded. His face immediately turned gray. The opponent came with an aggressive attitude, and had a reason. Clearly, Mr. Bok did not dare to say another word. At this moment, he was scolded on the phone like an unreasonable grandchild who encountered a senseless disaster. Naturally, I had to find Bok Ning Bing, the person who caused this, to cause trouble. His eyes gradually became gloomy, as if he had made a decision. Immediately after that, he issued an order to the entire Bok T Group to dismiss Bok and Gung Bang from all positions in Bok T Group. From now on, do not act as a member of Bok T's family outside. Last time, Mr. Bok only suspended Bok Ning Bang's position, not dismissed him. Just wanted to force Bok Ning Bang to give in. This time, he was really serious. Even announced it to the world. 1 is to give an explanation to Lam Jia, 2 is that Bok Ning Bang really made him feel disappointed, so he had the intention of giving up Bok Ning Bang. Initially, he intended to rely on Bok Jia's power to replace Lu Wei with the contract and compensation, pulling him out of Lam T Entertainment. Unexpectedly, Mr. Bok paid attention to all her actions and decided to raise a new heir. Currently, Bok Ning Bang has become an abandoned child of the Bok family. Those who used to flatter her before now no longer respect her. The promises to Lu Wei naturally turn into worse promises. The apartment that Lu Wei is living in is a residence distributed to artists by Lam T Entertainment. I will take it back at the appropriate time. Lu Wei and Bok Ningbing now have no money left and were forced to leave the account overnight. The vehicle assigned to Lu Wei was also confiscated. Step by step pushes people to the end. On the other side, Bok Ningbing received a phone call from her family. Bok Ningbing's mother spoke worriedly on the other end of the phone. Go back quickly. Your grandfather has already brought his stepson home. When he was young, Bok Ningbing's father was famous for being a boy who loved to play outside, leaving behind many illegitimate children. If it weren't for Bok Ningbing and me being childhood sweethearts and a predetermined marriage contract from a young age, her parents would not have been able to hold this position. Her grandfather once clearly stated that he would not allow his own children to step foot into the door of Bok Jia. But now he personally welcomes a stepchild home. Her parents were worried that their position would no longer be stable, so they hastily informed Bok Ningbing. People still didn't know anything. Bok Ningbing was startled when she heard it. What does Grandpa mean by bringing his stepson home? Actually, she understands very well. It's just that Grandpa Bok wants to give her up. We cannot let such a thing happen. An indescribable panic arose in Bok Ningbing's heart. She can fight against Mr. Bok because of true love, but only based on the fact that she is the only heir of the Bok family. Now, that one thing is no longer there. How could Bok Ningbing not panic? Turning around to look and leaving, she moved to a small, temporarily rented apartment of only a few dozen square meters. Compared to the villa she lived in before, it was truly a world of difference. Lu Wei only knows how to complain and blame every day, and is no longer as thoughtful and considerate as in his memories. Bok Ningbing became confused and lost. Could this be the life she wanted? Knowing the pitiful situation of the two of them, I smiled happily and decided to go to the bar for a drink to celebrate. Tatan Tuet, a famous singer in the entertainment world, is singing here. Fong Bok, great master of the Fong family, has always been a loyal fan of Tatan Tuet. Previously, when Tatan Tuet was a star, Fong Bok gave flowers at concerts and red clay gifts at sky-high prices, just hoping to get Tatan Tuet's eyes back. But at that time she was a distant, unreachable star. Now, the star has faded and falling into a dark place that blends with the passion. It seems like you can just reach out and pick it up. Fong Bok also did not care about Tatan Tuet. The negative news leaked online found her way to the bar where she sang and worked part-time. As a famous star, Tatan Tuet is quite popular at the bar. The person in charge also pays her a pretty good salary. Tatan Tuet also has to take care of her seriously ill mother in the hospital. She doesn't come here every night to sing, but Fong Bok, in order to meet Tatan Tuet, often comes to the bar to wait. Everyone in that circle of his knew that Fong Dai-Thew had recently liked a girl who sang at a bar. However, Tatan Tuet always maintained an attitude of neither being arrogant nor condescending towards Fong Bok. She didn't seem too friendly, just treated him like a normal customer coming to the bar to spend money. I dressed in black and walked into the bar, randomly finding a place to sit down. Looking at the girl on stage wearing a white outfit, the girl holding the microphone looked thoughtful. When Bok Ningbing lost all my assets in my previous life, it was this woman in front of me who saved me. After meeting her, I discovered that she is actually a famous star. My unremarkable deskmate in high school, she secretly liked me for 10 years, but because of just one sentence from Bok Ningbing, this girl who used to be Tian Chi Kyo became as poor as she is now. Tatan Tuet only performed one show at the bar. Every Friday, she went on stage. As soon as she got off stage, she was invited away by Fong Bok's people. Last time I told you about being my girlfriend, what did you think? Fong Bok has expressed his feelings for Tan Tuet more than once, but Tan Tuet has always refused. After all, he is a rich child. Being rejected by Tan Tuet many times, her patience became less and less. Before, she was like a star in the sky, the top queen of the entertainment industry, someone that even Fong Bok could not reach. But now, Tan Tuet has fallen into darkness, there is no longer the bright light like before. This young master Fong Bok feels that he still likes her and is willing to let her be his girlfriend, which is already a favor. Therefore, her lack of appreciation made Fong Bok feel very frustrated. Last time he said something to Tan Tuet to think carefully. The tone carried a threat. In his previous life, because of Tan Tuet's refusal this time, Fong Bok, in anger, rushed into Tu's mother's hospital and said many harsh words. At this point, the mother realized what her daughter had endured. She immediately became sick and was taken to the emergency room. In the end, although Tu's mother was saved, she did not want to continue to be a burden to Tan Tuet, and at night she quietly took out her breathing tube alone. The next morning, when she woke up, Tan Tuet saw that her mother was just. If it was said that I was the one who caused Tan Tuet to fall into darkness, an evil enemy, then Fong Bok was the last straw, pushing her to the end. Now that a new life has begun, I definitely cannot let Tan Tuet fall into that situation again. So tonight I came. On the other hand, Tan Tuet wore a pure white dress with a simple, ordinary design, but under the light it exuded an indescribable uniqueness, like a pure and holy blue lotus. Hearing Fong Bok's words, Tan Tuet gently frowned and apologized. Sir, right now I'm focusing on making money and have no intention of falling in love. Tan Tuet was very good at saving face for the other person, but Fong Bok still did not give up. I can give you money. But Tan Tuet calmly refused. In the end, Fong Bok couldn't bear it anymore and got angry at her. Am I not good? You reject me over and over again? Or do you already have someone else you like? Tan Tuet originally intended to say no, but a figure couldn't help but appear in her mind and she hesitated for a moment. However, it was the hesitation in that moment that let Fong Bok see the clue. Who is that man? Fong Bok can endure the fact that Tan Tuet temporarily dislikes him, but cannot bear the fact that the woman he has his eyes on has someone else in his heart. His questioning voice carried hysteria. Tan Tuet. Coldly frowning, Tan Tuet pursed her lips and said, I think this has nothing to do with you. Fong Bok's face was filled with sadness and pain. He couldn't help but say harsh words. You will definitely regret it. It's okay, I'll go first. Tan Tuet did not pay attention to Fong Bok. She turned around and wanted to leave, but was stopped by Fong Bok's little disciple. Do you still think you are a big, bright star? Brother Bok liking you is already a blessing for you. Don't refuse blessings and accept disaster. Now you don't look back at your status, Brother Bok pursues you. Do you still dare to be arrogant? Tan Tuet frowned slightly, she was also an arrogant and cold person. It's just that right now she doesn't have the right to be stubborn and put those insults behind her. Then he turned around and left. Unexpectedly, after only 2 steps, he heard Bok Kiet's voice ring out from behind. Tan Tuet, it seems you have a sick mother, right? Tan Tuet heard that and turned around. His cold face was covered with a layer of ice, his eyes exuded a bit of coldness and sharpness. Finally, what do you want to do? Fong Bok coldly opened his mouth. This young master has been pursuing you for so long, yet you still disagree. Now I like another man, making me a laughing stock in the world. What if we don't pay a little price? Tan Tuet said coldly. You can make things difficult for me all you want, but don't touch my mother. The girl's pale crystal eyes shone with fierceness. Everything. Fong Bok was startled by Tan Tuet's eyes, but quickly calmed down. If you don't want anything to happen to your mother, drink all the wine here, without leaving a drop. On the table there were dozens of bottles of foreign wine, all of which were high-strength spirits. In her previous life, Tan Tuet drank alcohol. Fong Bok didn't keep his promise and still went looking for her parents. But now that it was about Tan Tuet's mother, she didn't dare to argue. As long as you drink all the wine here, I promise I won't bother you anymore, and I won't touch your mother. Fong Bok and his henchmen under the dark light, each of them laughing with malice. The corner of the girl's lips raised a pale curve. She held the bottle of wine to her lips. Before drinking, Tan Tuet's cold voice rang out. The wine I drink only hopes that Fu Jiafong can say it and do it. Having finished speaking, she quickly drank a bottle of strong wine. Fong Bok and his henchmen cheered next to him and continued walking. This is just the first bottle, there are several more left. Tan Tuet rarely drinks alcohol, and doesn't know what her tolerance is, relying entirely on the frustration in her heart to support herself. A bottle of high-strength wine had just fallen into her stomach. She felt a bit dizzy before her eyes, and her body swayed slightly unsteadily. Hearing the cheers of Fong Bok and the others, Tan Tuet reached out to take the second bottle, but her wrist was grabbed tightly by a large hand. A warm voice rang out next to her hand. Why don't you call me after drinking? Tan Tuet felt sure she was drunk. Otherwise, why would I just turn around and see that face that I miss day and night appearing before my eyes? That person is the boss of the richest family, with a noble and elegant temperament. How could it appear in a place like a bar? Not letting her think anymore, I immediately pulled her in front of me and asked, "Do you like me?" Tan Tuet heard her voice lose its usual coldness, not containing a bit of old car charm, but answered firmly. "When I was in high school, I liked you." Having finished speaking, she smiled brightly, enchantingly, as if wanting to relieve many years of resentment. After receiving the correct answer, as if claiming sovereignty, I kissed her face. "It's been sealed, it's yours, you can't like anyone else anymore." The girl's face had the look of an old car. I didn't understand her words very well, but she looked adorable. Seriously thought about it, then took the initiative to kiss me and confessed that he liked him the most. Looking at the man who suddenly appeared from nowhere, kissing and hugging Tan Tuet, the girl who was always cold towards him did not resist. Even took the initiative to kiss that man. Fong Bok just felt like he was going crazy. His face was distorted, screaming madly. "Who are you to dare to win women over with me? I really don't know whether to live or die." I told Tan Tuet to stand obediently, then glanced at Fong Bok, smiled without smiling, opened my mouth and said, "Who are you to dare to yell at me? I think the person who doesn't know whether to live or die is you." My voice is not loud, but it has the power to shake people's hearts. Fong Bok immediately burned with anger. This was the first time someone dared to talk to him like that. He stepped forward to raise his hand to hit me. As a result, out of nowhere, several men dressed in black and wearing dark glasses appeared. One of them grabbed Fong Bok's wrist with a very strong force. I just calmly say one sentence. "Leave one of his arms to this young master." When I said this sentence, my expression and intonation did not change much, as if paralyzing one of Fong Bok's arms was no different than chopping a cabbage.